What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we have Ritual Beast deck profile. All right, this is a really cool deck. I pretty much, as soon as they revealed the Wind Channeler in the OCG, I was pretty much waiting for that card to make this profile again. It's been a while since I made a Ritual Beast profile, but we're finally revisiting it because of this new card that adds a lot of consistency to the deck. A deck that did two card combos based off of drawing like a 3 of and a 6 of, essentially, now is doing 2 card combos by drawing like a 6 of and a 9 of. So it's like much more consistent that way. I really like that. You're getting to your combo more consistently, and it's really nice. So yeah, without further ado, I want to just jump right in. The deck really hasn't changed a whole ton outside of this new card, but we'll get there when we get there. All right, starting off with the monsters, though, we've got 3 copies of Ritual Beast, Tamer, Elder. He's like the best card. You want to open him with any of the Spiritual Beasts, because that will get you at least to like a free search and a monster that can tag out, and yeah, it's just like the best card to open, straight up. Next up, we have 1 copy of Lara, 1 copy of Zephyr and Pilica, 1 copy of Wen, and 1 copy of Winda. These are the 1 of Tamers you play. They all have their own utilities. I like Lara better than Zephyr and Pilica, but Zephyr and Pilica is searchable off of our new Wind monster, so our new Wind Channeler. So the reason that's nice is that if you needed that Reborn effect, you would be able to just search it out off of that, whereas Lara has too much defense, so it's unsearchable from that way. So play those. I just don't like that when Zephyr Pilica is like leaving the field, it's going to the extra deck, not your banish zone or the graveyard. And then these 2 just also good utility. Only one Winda. I used to play more Winda in the past, but I only played it because it floated, and that was like, if you're going to just set him on, if you're just going to set as Ritual Beast monster, it might as well be Winda, because she's probably the best one to draw by herself. But like, it is what it is, you know. All right, moving on to our Spiritual Beast, we've got 3 copies of Kanahawk. We've got 3 copies of Rampengu. We've got 1 copy of Apelio, and that'll do us, right? Nothing too crazy. We're not playing the Petalfin. You don't need to. You technically could, but again, it's not even searchable off of her either, so like, what's the point? But yeah, these are pretty good. You want to max out on these, because these, you can open either of these with Elder, and that will give you your combo, and yeah, that's pretty much all we're doing there. That is it for all of the Spiritual Beast and Ritual Beast monsters. That gives us, I believe, 14 in the main. Let me just make sure. 5, 10, 14. Yep, 14 in the main. Not getting crazy, but not getting, you know, not too few, right? So those are going to be paired up with our new insane monster. This card is really, really cool. I cannot wait for the other attribute ones to come out, because they will be equally like helped by their version of this card. If you don't know what this card does, I'll go over it real quick. You can discard this card plus any Wind monster to add any Wind monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, but you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except for Wind attribute monsters. So does have a pretty hefty restriction, but mainly that's not coming up, especially in this deck. Literally, I don't even know if it can come up in this deck, because you don't even play non-Wind monsters to summon. So it's a really cool card. It's pretty cool. Like, it really is. So I'm going to play 3 of her just for consistency, which then takes us to our hand trap lineup: 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 2 D Shifter. Okay, so as far as hand traps go, one thing I will say before we even move on from this or even talk about this, I'm playing Ogre right now. I don't have Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Sorrow? Whatever. Moonlit Chill. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, I would play her over Ogre. I don't even think she's actually better than Ogre in the meta right now, but Ogre is not a Wind, sorry, and she is. So she, even if you drew her, and like you needed to discard her with the new Channeler just to get a search, you could. So it adds just a couple more Wind monsters to your main deck to be able to open up the Wind Channeler to be like resolvable. So just want to do that. And then D-Shift is like insane. This deck banishes its own cards it wants to, so this card doesn't hurt you barely at all, and it's like insane versus the meta. So if you wanted, you could actually like drop Ash to 2 and play this at 3, but I would definitely keep Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill at 3, just because it just adds more Wind like discard targets. But this card's insane. Like, this card's stopping a meta deck like for a turn straight up. So if you want to play more than that, it's more impactful, but drawing it later in the game is not too good. But you know, pluses and minuses, you gotta weigh those and then, you know, make your own decisions. Moving on to the spells, we don't play a ton of them. We just have 3 Extravagance and 1 Dimensional Fissure. Extravagance is what it is, okay? Kanahawk is the only legitimate card in your extra deck that really actually matters. You have other cards you'll go into for utility and stuff, but Kanahawk's the only one that actually matters. So as long as you don't banish all 3 of him, this card is unconsequential. And then we have Fissure. This card's insane. Like, you know how many decks? Like right now, like if you go first versus Eldritch, like what do they do versus this? If they didn't open Golden Lord to send this with his effect, like they're just like, what do? They just don't do anything, and they probably lose. So this card's insane. It beats Adamantipator, beats a ton of stuff, keeps like makes Block Dragon like dead, essentially. It's just like crazy. This card's insane. And it almost works as like a combo piece for you. It's like crazy. Taking us into our traps, though, we've got 3 copies of Ritual Beast Steeds. Of course, you play 3 Steeds. This card's insane. This card is just pop 2 to 3 monsters like every time you use it. It's very easy to resolve, very searchable, and sometimes just normal summon a Ritual Beast. Set this is actually better than people expect it to be, especially paired with a hand trap or 2. I play 2 Ambush as well. Some people don't like 2 Ambush. As we've gone through time, like I think people want to do their combo and they want to search these. So some people only like 1 Ambush, but I like the grindability of being able to resolve 2 throughout the course of a duel if there is some back and forth. I'm not even playing Trap Trick, so that isn't even a factor here that I've done in the past. I just like 2 of it. It's easily droppable down to 1. I wouldn't even bash you for it. That's just a personal decision. I like it at 2. There. And then for some Floodgates, I play 2 copies of Gozen Match and 1 copy of Macrocosmos. Again, Macro is just as good as Defetcher, but actually probably better versus Eldritch. If any of their Elixirs or Golden land spells go to grave, they're also banished. So Golden Lord's getting banished, all their spells and traps are getting banished, and they just don't do anything at that point. Like they just don't even, they're not even a comprehensive deck anymore. And then Gozen Match, it's just pretty good versus the meta. You know, making it so like Eldritch variants conflict with whatever they're combined with, making it so Adamantipator, once they put all their Earths on the field, they can't even get into any of their extra deck. They can't make Hawk. They can't do any of that stuff. It's just good. Like it's pretty good. I would honestly keep it. I wouldn't drop it anytime soon until like something big happened. But I'm not even playing at 3, so it's not even like I'm fully committed. I might side a 3rd copy just so, you know. If the matchup is just too good not to have it, you can throw all 3 in. But yeah, other than that, we're rocking out. And then we have our last card in the main deck. We're on 3 copies of Impermanence. Pair this with the other hand traps. You've got 11 hand traps in the main, which again is pretty good for 40 cards. You have to be able to slow your opponent down. One thing with this deck specifically is it is god awful going second. It doesn't matter what hand you have, you lose to 1 disruption. You just do. Maybe you don't even lose, but your turn is stopped, essentially, combo-wise, by 1 disruption. So you want to be able to slow your opponent down going second because you cannot afford to be playing through boards, you know, off the draw anyway. So playing the 3 Imperm, 11 hand traps, 40 cards in the main. That'll do it for that. We've got stuff like Extravagance, which we couldn't play before because we only had 1 Kanahawk. We have stuff like the new Wind Channeler here. So specifically, it's like consistency stuff. We've got more draw power than before. We've got more searchability than before. And we are getting to the combos we really need to be much more than we ever have been. All right, from that point on, we're going to go into our extra deck. It's pretty standard here. We are playing Extravagance, so keep that in mind. So we're playing 3 copies of Ulti, Kumu, and Falcos. This card is part of the combo. So if you have like one of the good combos, this card is going to be, you're going to be going through it. So you don't have to play it at 3, but I play it at 3 because like if I'm going to go combo, I should go combo, right? So you want to make sure this is live if you can, and just hoping that it doesn't get hit. 3 copies of Ulti Kanahawk. This is, I guess, the only other big difference other than the Wind Channeler as far as like how this deck can be built. We played at 3, but honestly, we only played at 3 so that we can play Extravagance. The deck just needed cards like Extravagance and Channeler just to have like a nice buff and consistency because you were just 1, not seeing your combo as much as you wanted to, and 2, like you couldn't play Extrav, so you couldn't even play that draw power. That you also wanted to as well. So this is really, really nice for the deck. Even if you only have 1 survive and Extravagance, that's how we were playing before. If you can get to the combo, the deck's actually not terrible. But that was the problem. We just weren't getting to the combo before. All right, for the rest of the fusions, we're on 3 Ulti Apelio, 1 Ulti Petalfin, and 2 copies I have Ulti Guy Pelio. This lineup is pretty self-explanatory. This guy actually is fairly important. You go into him to apply pressure offensively with like a lot of damage, so I still like having 3 of him because when he does come up, he is important to help close out a game. Ulti Petalfin's like the worst one. She doesn't even matter like at all. We're not even playing Petalfin in the main, so she really doesn't matter. But Guy Pelio actually does matter because of Rampengu. He banishes an extra deck Ritual Beast monster to then send one of the same type. So you need to be sending a Psychic sometimes, so it either has to be this or this. So I like to have a little more copies there just so that, you know, whatever we need to be sending, we can hit a Psychic no matter what. And also, if Wind is ever destroyed, sometimes you just want the big beater, and he is the biggest beater we have to offer, 3,200. So I like playing him at 2. Not entirely necessary, but you know, you got to pick the ones that you think are like the most necessary and play them at a higher number. All right, and then for the Exeeds, we just play 2 copies of Lightning Chidori and 1 Tornado Dragon. Yeah, just utility. I mean, literally, if you go through the main deck and the extra deck, there is literally no back row removal. This is the only back row removal the deck has access to as far as our main deck goes. As far as, you know, we can access game 1, so you probably should be siding stuff like Heavy Storm Duster, maybe just Lightning Storm and Evenly Match just for those back row matchups, because those matchups are kind of brutal. But yeah, just a one-off. Like hopefully, if you need him to come up, you didn't banish him off Extrav. And then Lightning Shiori. This card also hits back row, but only set back row, so no floodgates or anything. But still, it's pretty good. I'm not complaining. This card's really, really nice. When you go into this card, it feels so good, especially versus certain decks. They're just random decks, almost like True Draco's a really good example. Not that True Draco is amazing anymore, but even True Draco in its prime, they have so many like set cards that you could literally make this card, right? Send a set card back to, what is it, the bottom of the deck. Then you can use this card's effect and send a face-up card to the top of the deck and just like immediately just go boom, boom. I made 1 Exceed, but I just took care of 2 threats on your field, and now we rolling. And now is a 1900 beater that can still apply, you know, battle phase pressure. So it's a really cool card. I like playing it. It's definitely a card that I favor, especially any deck that can play it. That's why I like Harpies, because Harpies can actually play that card, and I think it's pretty cool. So that's going to do it for the extra deck. That is 40 cards in the main, obviously 15 in the extra, but it's a really nice for Ritual Beast. If you have been like a, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? A perennial Ritual Beast player, and it's been a while, and you've been kind of like at a standstill. You're like, oh, the meta just keeps getting faster and faster. My Ritual deck has just been at a standstill. This is actually a pretty welcome, like, push for the deck between being able to use Extravagance now that Ritual Beast Kanahawk, Ulti Kanahawk is off the ban list, and also getting something like Wind Channeler to more consistently see the good combos you're looking for, or whatever Ritual Beast monster you really wanted to see, except for like 1, maybe 2 of them you can't search, but that's still pretty good being able to search everything else. So yeah, that's going to do it for me here, guys. As always, let me know your thoughts down below on the build. Let me know what you think. Is there anything else I should consider in here? I'm always down to edit deck lists. I'm always trying to make my decks better. This is just what I have here today for you. So let me know on that down below. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more deck profiles from your boy in the future, definitely subscribe to the channel because, you know, we climbing, we grinding, you know. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.